by the Sixth Revolution, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to Long Beach, California. We've brought you aboard the famous Queen Mary. You are going to learn all about the fascinating history of this ship, all the famous folks who have traveled aboard her, folks like Bob Hope, the Duke and Duchess of Windsor, Vivian Leigh, Marlene Dietrich, Greta Garbo, the list goes on and on. But you know what's really interesting is who's aboard the ship right now. They say the Queen Mary is haunted. Nestled in the heart of the Long Beach Harbor is one of Southern California's premier tourist attractions. Take a trip with us back in time and learn something interesting and a little spooky as we go. Well, here we are in the wheelhouse aboard the famous Queen Mary in Long Beach on the most beautiful day possible with the captain, Captain Will Kane. What a thrill to be here. Do you like your job?
Absolutely. How are you, Joni? Welcome aboard.
I am great. Now, what everyone wants to know about is the spirit activity. Have you seen evidence of other kind of ghostly life?
I like to say that we don't have ghosts aboard the Queen Mary, but we do seem to have a lot of angels.
I like that. People do, though, talk about some activity aboard, and what do you attribute that to?
Most of the paranormal groups and psychologists that come aboard to study claim that there is a vortex aboard the ship. It lies at the aft end of the first-class swimming pool in an area that was the dressing boxes, changing rooms. And a vortex is a spiraling area of energy that supposedly allows spirit to travel from one dimension to the other. They also keep reminding us that we are an iron hull floating in water, which are both conductors of energy, so that we may actually be set up to be sensitive to this type of activity.
With apologies to Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio, you can have a lot of fun on this ship. John, it's the 75th anniversary, and I can't help but notice that you're dressed in this wonderful 30s apparel. Is it exciting to be here today?
It's indeed a pleasure and an honor to be part of the 75th anniversary of the maiden voyage of the Queen Mary.
This place is so much more glamorous than I haven't been on a lot of cruise liners, but I've been on a few. This is quite a spectacular area.
This was the place aboard the Queen Mary to come. The first class passengers, second class would come and enjoy this space. This is quite elaborate, but the Queen Mary wanted to be elaborate. It really wanted to be able to make a statement up against the Normandy, which her maiden voyage occurred about a year prior to the Queen Mary's, to really run in that same class of elegant space, decorations, wonderful work of art, introducing all the different materials, the brass, the copper, bronze structures, and the beautiful woods. And so the spaces really were decorated to create that enhancement. And the observation bar was probably one of the finest spaces aboard, including the wonderful etched glass material that's in the ship.
We wanted to show you an example of this amazing Art Deco glasswork. Just spectacular, and as you move along through it, you can see that everything changes, and it's in keeping with that eerie, spooky spirit world feeling aboard the ship. Here we are with Everett Horde. Now, I understand you have an interesting factoid about this mural behind us.
Yes, indeed. The mural behind us is entitled The Royal Jubilee. And it is actually depicting the celebration of King George V's coronation way back in, I believe it was 1912 or so. And naturally, King George V, his wife, is who the Queen Mary is named after. And he played a very large part in the Queen Mary's completion, actually, as His Majesty's government had to actually make a loan to finish the Queen Mary because work was suspended for 2 years during the Great Depression. And so the government actually stepped in and funded the completion of the Queen Mary and also the building of the Queen Elizabeth so that the Queen Mary and Queen Elizabeth would become the first two-ship express service across the North Atlantic in history.
Full of fine, rare woods, murals, art and sculpture, the ship was not only beautiful, her gracious service was legendary. Suites had spacious sitting rooms, and even staterooms were far larger than any today. There were playrooms for children, virtual fantasy lands for fertile young imaginations. And there were grand rooms for adults, abundance and elegance everywhere. By the summer of 1939, the Queen Mary reached the height of success. She was grand, safe, fast, and profitable.